Look, I know how this sounds. Ooh, scary pizza guy, right? Laugh it up. But I'm not laughing. Not after last Tuesday. Not after what showed up at my door at the stroke of 12, and definitely not after what was inside the box. It started stupidly, like most nightmares do. Work deadline from hell. My brain felt like overcooked spaghetti by 11 p.m. The fridge offered only condiments and existential dread. Delivery was the only option. I fired up SlicePerfect. You know the app, the one with the cartoon pizza chef winking. Scrolled through the usual suspects, settled on a large pepperoni and mushroom from Tony's Hot Corner. Mainly because their estimated delivery window was still open, 11:45 p.m. to 12:15 a.m., cutting it close, but hunger won. Order placed. Confirmation pinged. The little map showed my driver, M. Vargas, as a cheerful scooter icon, chilling somewhere near the restaurant. I slumped back on the couch, letting the blue glow of the TV wash over me. Some true crime documentary providing background noise to my exhaustion. My apartment felt too quiet, too big suddenly. Just the murmur of the TV and the frantic late-night hammering of my neighbor's keyboard through the thin wall. City sounds, distant sirens, the occasional car whoosh, usually felt comforting. That night, they felt like white noise masking something else. I must have dozed off. The jolt awake wasn't gentle. It was the sudden, oppressive silence. The true crime narrator had stopped mid-sentence. The TV screen was black. A power flicker? No. The digital clock on the microwave glared a steady, accusatory 11:58, 2 minutes to midnight. And the app? The app now showed M. Vargas exactly at my building's icon. Estimated arrival, 00. Not approaching, not arriving soon. Just a cold, precise 000. Weird, but okay. Maybe their GPS glitched. Maybe Tony had a time-traveling oven. I shuffled towards the door, my bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. Peephole first, always. City habit. The hallway was dim, lit only by the weak emergency exit sign at the far end. Empty. 11:59. Then, the elevator down the hall dinged. Not a cheerful ding. It sounded heavy, final, like the closing of a vault. My breath hitched. I hadn't heard the elevator ascend. It usually groaned like an old man climbing stairs. This was silent ascent, silent arrival. The doors slid open, no one got out. The light inside was off, just a rectangle of deeper shadow. My skin prickled. This was ridiculous. It was just pizza. Probably some kid driver messing with the app, maybe parked downstairs and walking up. But why take the elevator just to stop on my floor and not get out? The microwave clock clicked over. Simultaneously, 3 sharp, deliberate knocks echoed through the silent hallway. Rap, 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 right on my door. The sound wasn't loud, but it was precise, like measured by a metronome set to the rhythm of my suddenly pounding heart. No voice called out. No SlicePerfect delivery. Just those 3 knocks, perfectly spaced, landing exactly as the digital world declared it midnight. I pressed my eye to the peephole again. The hallway was still dim, but the figure standing there was darker, tall. Too tall, maybe? Or was it the way they stood, unnervingly still, just outside the spill of the emergency light? They wore the standard SlicePerfect reflective windbreaker, hood pulled up, shadowing their face completely. No thermal bag slung casually over a shoulder. They held the pizza box flat in front of them, arms extended stiffly, like an offering, or like carrying something far heavier than dough and cheese. Thanks, I called out, my voice cracking. Just leave it by the door, please. Standard contactless procedure, right? Safer. The figure didn't move, didn't acknowledge my voice, didn't nod, didn't shift weight, just stood there, holding the box perfectly level. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. Why weren't they leaving? Hello? I tried again, louder this time. You can leave it there. Thanks. Nothing. Absolute stillness. Not even the rustle of fabric. It was like looking at a mannequin dressed as a delivery driver, placed there by some cosmic joke with terrible timing. The app notification on my phone, still clutched in my sweaty hand, vibrated. A message from SlicePerfect. Your order has been delivered. Enjoy your meal from Tony's Hot Corner. Rate your experience. Delivered? To whom? The silent statue outside my door. Panic, cold and sharp, started to edge out the fatigue. This wasn't right. This wasn't normal. The true crime doc I'd been half watching flashed into my mind. Stories that started with a knock on the door. My fingers fumbled for the deadbolt, sliding it home with a loud, reassuring clunk. The sound seemed abnormally loud in the tense silence. The figure reacted, not by leaving, not by speaking. Its head tilted, slowly, mechanically, towards the sound of the deadbolt. Just a few degrees, enough for the weak light to catch something. Not eyes, just deeper shadow within the hood. A void where a face should be. My breath froze in my lungs. Then, slowly, deliberately, the figure bent at the waist. Not a casual lean. It was a stiff, unnatural hinge movement. It placed the pizza box squarely on the floor, centered perfectly before my door. The cardboard made a soft thump. It straightened up, that same unnatural stiffness. For a second, it just stood there, facing my door. I could feel the weight of its unseen gaze through the wood, through the peephole. A wave of pure, irrational dread washed over me, colder than any midnight wind. This wasn't annoyance anymore. This was primal fear, the kind that whispers wrongness in your bones. Then, without a sound, it turned. Not a human pivot. It rotated smoothly, unnervingly, like something on a turntable, and walked back towards the elevator. Its steps made no noise on the linoleum. None. The elevator doors were still open, that rectangle of blackness. It stepped inside. The doors slid shut silently. I heard no whir of machinery, no descent. Just silence reclaiming the hallway. I stood frozen for a full minute, maybe two, my ear pressed to the door, listening to the frantic drum solo of my own heart. Nothing. No sound from the hallway. The app notification glared up at me. Enjoy your meal. The absurdity warred with the terror. It was just pizza, left by a weirdly quiet, possibly socially awkward, definitely unsettling delivery person. Right? The smell, now that the immediate terror had receded slightly, began to seep under the door. Not the usual greasy, cheesy aroma of Tony's. This was different, sharper, almost chemical, like burnt plastic mixed with something vaguely coppery. My stomach, previously growling, clenched in protest. Curiosity, that fatal flaw, started to poke through the fear. What if it was just pizza? What if I was being a total idiot, letting my sleep-deprived brain and a late-night documentary spin a mundane delivery into horror? The silence outside felt absolute now. Normal. The neighbor's keyboard started up again, a frantic, familiar rhythm. Taking a shaky breath, I undid the deadbolt and the chain as quietly as I could. I cracked the door open, just enough to see out. The hallway was empty. The emergency light hummed softly. And there it was, the pizza box. Plain cardboard, the SlicePerfect logo bright under the weak light. It sat perfectly centered on the worn mat that said "Go away." A cosmic joke if I ever saw one. I reached out, grabbed the edge of the box, and yanked it inside, slamming the door shut and locking everything again in one frantic motion. Leaning against the cool wood, I held the box away from my body. It felt normal. Warm, even. The weird smell was stronger now inside the apartment, cutting through the usual stale air. That chemical tang, and underneath it, that coppery note, like old pennies or blood. I carried the box to the kitchen counter like it was radioactive, placing it down with exaggerated care. My hands were trembling. The lid was pristine, unmarked. No grease stains, no delivery instructions scribbled on top, just the logo. Taking another deep breath, instantly regretting it as the smell hit me harder, I lifted the lid. Steam billowed out, thick and strangely cold. It smelled wrong. Not just bad pizza wrong, fundamentally wrong. Like ozone after a storm mixed with that chemical burn and the pervasive copper. I waved the steam away, peering in. It looked like pizza, mostly. The crust was pale, almost undercooked, but the cheese was molten and bubbled, obscuring most of the toppings. Pepperoni slices curled at the edges, unnaturally red. Mushrooms glistened wetly. But something was off. The arrangement wasn't random. The pepperonis formed a rough circle near the center, almost like petals, and nestled right in the very center, partly melted into the cheese. Wasn't a mushroom. It was small, white, with a dark spot at one end. I leaned closer, my heart hammering against my ribs. The steam cleared a little more. It was a tooth, a human molar. Dark spot, a filling. My vision tunneled. The chemical copper smell became overwhelming. I stumbled back, bile rising in my throat, crashing into the counter behind me. The box sat innocuously on the counter, steaming its foul miasma. The app notification on my phone, face up on the counter beside it, suddenly lit up again. Not a rating reminder this time. A new message from M. Vargas. No photo, just text. Glad it arrived on time. Enjoy every slice. See you next Tuesday, same time. I haven't slept since. I sit here now in the harsh glow of my laptop screen. Tuesday night, crawling towards midnight again. The box is gone, dumped in a random dumpster miles away. I told the police. They were polite, took notes, exchanged looks. Check the app. Driver M. Vargas. Doesn't show in our system right now. Must be a glitch. They suggested stress, maybe a prank. Asked about the tooth. Probably plastic, part of some stupid gag, the officer shrugged. They didn't smell the box. They didn't see the way it stood there. The app is still on my phone. I can't delete it. I tried. It just reappears. Tony's Hot Corner is temporarily closed now. Reviews gone dark. My phone sits beside me, screen dark. But I can feel it. The silence is back. Deeper than before. The neighbor's keyboard has stopped. The city sounds outside seem hushed, waiting. My microwave clock glows 11:58. I'm staring at my locked door. My deadbolts are thrown. My phone is in my hand, cold and heavy. It's 2 minutes to midnight, and the hallway outside is utterly, terribly silent.